Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Do you like snowmen? If so, I think you are really going to enjoy today's video. I have created 5 different snowmen projects and I think they turned out really pretty. If this is your first time visiting my channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Barbara and I love to create home decor using budget-friendly items, whether that's from Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Dollar General, Walmart, or thrifted items. If you enjoy that type of content, I hope you'll click that subscribe button and the notification bell so YouTube will remind you the next time I upload a brand new video. To all of my current subscribers, thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. Now make sure you stay tuned to the very end of today's video because I have a channel update I want to share with you all. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, let's get started on project number 1. We are starting off with 2 of these glass jars from Dollar Tree. Remove the lids, we will not need those in this project. Using some of Dollar Tree's faux snow, this is in the shape of those mini snowballs. We're going to fill each one of these glass jars up, and you do want to shake it around a little bit to get it to settle down so that you can fill these almost all the way up to the top. Then I'm going to use some E6000 and place that in 4 different spots on one of the jar tops. And then in the opposite spot, I'm going to put some hot glue. That's going to give it that temporary hold until that E6000 sets up. When you line these up, they do have seams on the side, so you want to make sure you keep your seams on the same side. And for the hat, we're going to use one of these Dollar Tree ornaments, and I'm going to hot glue that to the top of the jar. Now again, you want to make sure that the front of your hat is in the middle of those 2 seams on the sides of the jar. Then using one of Dollar Tree's microfiber cloths, I'm going to cut 1 2-inch strip. And I am using the end piece that has the seam on that outside edge. Then I'll take that strip and cut 2 6.5-inch strips out of that. Once I have both of those cut out, I'm going to take some hot glue and add it to the seam that's already there. And then I'm going to fold it over in half and be really careful not to burn yourself, but you just want to kind of flatten that out where the seam is on the edge. And then on one end, you're going to hot glue that together. You do want to leave the other end open. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with the other piece of cloth. Once this one's together, I'm going to go back to the first one because the hot glue is cooled off now. And then I'm going to turn it inside out. So I'm doing that so that it will look like it's sewn and that seam, the glue part, will be on the inside. So if you have a little trouble trying to get that back through, I just use like my marker, or you can use a pencil or anything, and just kind of push that out until you can get it completely turned inside out or right side out. And you do the exact same thing for the other one. Now once both of those are turned out, I'm going to fill them up with some polyfill. And I'm going to push that down again using my marker to get that polyfill down at the bottom. You don't want to fill it up too much. You just want to have it nice and fluffy. Now at the end that is open, you're going to want to leave at least 1 inch at the top with no polyfill. You want to be able to kind of push that flat. And you're going to do that for both of these microfiber cloths. Now I'm going to set those to the side and draw a face for our snowman, and I'm using an oil-based Sharpie marker, and you can find these at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to draw a very simple face and then color in those eyes. And then I'm going to use some acrylic paint in the color pumpkin orange to paint in the nose. And then I'm going to take the end of that paintbrush and just dab it into my white chalk paint to create the whites for the eyes. Now I'm going to create a scarf using this buffalo check ribbon, and I purchased this from Amazon, and I have this linked in my Amazon store if you're interested, which is in my description box below. I'm just going to wrap that around where the 2 glass jars meet, and tie it. And then I'm going to fold them in opposite directions. So to begin with, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue to hold that scarf in place, and then cut my ribbons down to a similar length. And then I'm going to twist them in opposite directions and glue just that top one down. And then I'll take my scissors and cut little slits on the end to make it look like a realistic scarf. Now we can take those legs that we created and make sure that those top parts are very flat. And I'm going to hold them sort of like in a crisscross pattern, set my snowman jar on top, and see if I need to cut any excess off. And if I do, I'll just cut those little corner pieces off. And then once you know that everything's going to fit nice and snug under the jar and it's going to sit flat, I'm going to put a really heavy amount of hot glue there, set the jars down, hold it firmly in place until that glue sets up. For the shoes, I am using these adorable ornament from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut the tags off at the top, and I am going to put the glue at the back part of those shoes or little snow boots, and then press the leg right in the back part of those shoes. Then I'm going to fill each one of them up with that polyfill all the way to the top till you have a little bit of that fluff sticking out so it looks like really cute snow boots. And I think project number 1 turned out so cute. This little snowman shelf sitter is adorable. How cute would that be on a riser? You guys let me know what you think of the first snowman. Okay, project number 2, we are starting off with one of these snowman ornaments from Dollar Tree. I'm going to give it a coat of white chalk paint on everything except for the nose and the hat. And I did make sure that I painted the outside edges. The nose I am painting with that same pumpkin orange acrylic apple barrel paint. And the hat I am painting with some black chalk paint. And then I used the end of my paintbrush to dab it into my black chalk paint just to create the eye. We're also using one of these Dollar Tree frames, and I'm going to remove the backing and give the entire frame 2 coats of the black chalk paint because for some reason the material that's on this frame, the paint really did not want to adhere to it well, so I did have to give that 2 coats. Or possibly you could sand it down before painting it with the first coat. I used my hairdryer to heat up that paper to try to peel most of it off because I wanted that lettering removed, because we're going to be covering this with this gorgeous gingham print scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to trace and cut that out to the size of the backing of our frame and apply that using just a regular school glue stick. Then I can press that on there firmly, make sure everything's nice and flat. And then I'm going to cut an extra strip of that scrapbook paper off to create the scarf. I'm going to trim that down to size and apply that using some hot glue. And then I'm going to fold that over on one side so I'll know where to cut that off at. And then I'll use the piece that I cut off to create the second part of the scarf that hangs down. And I'm going to hold everything together with some hot glue, except for the very end, which I will trim down to size. And then I can cut tiny slits in that to make it look like a real scarf. And this snowman is so adorable. Now we can place our backing back into our frame and use some hot glue to attach the snowman to the front. And this was a very simple project, but I love how it turned out. I love this gingham print scrapbook paper, and I think this would be really pretty on a tiered tray. Let me know what you think of the second snowman project. Okay, for project number 3, we are going to be using one of Dollar Tree's snowman hanging decor pieces. Remove the tag, and I'm going to use Waverly White chalk paint, and I'm going to give the base of the snowman 2 coats. I made sure that I paint those outside edges as well as the inside edges of the top of the hat and the scarf. And I'm going to let that dry in between coats. And then for the nose, I'm going to use that same pumpkin orange acrylic paint from Apple Barrel, and I'll give that 2 coats as well. I use my hair dryer to dry that a little bit faster in between coats, and then we'll use that same gingham scrapbook paper from the previous project, and I'm going to line that up on top of the snowman, and then I'm just going to create the creases for the scarf as well as the top part of the hat just by pushing that down and making indentions on the back part of the paper. So I'll be able to see how to cut that, and we can be able to use that to place it on top of our wood piece. So see, you can see here how those indentions are, and it's okay if it's not completely perfect. You just want to get it pretty close. And I'll hold it up there and make sure it's semi-close to the design, and I'll go ahead and cut the top rim of his stocking out, the stocking cap as well. And then I decided to go ahead and add a little bit to the ball on the stocking cap. So I'm just going to do that the same way by holding it in place. I did make sure that I lined the design up with the piece that was on the top of the hat, and then I'll cut that down. And since they may be just a little bit off of the edge on some of them and they're not going to be perfect, I'm going to go over those with the white chalk paint just in case you could see some of it. You'll see the white, which matches our scrapbook paper anyway. And I only put one coat on that. I took some black chalk paint and painted the stocking itself, including that outside rim. And then once all my paint dries, I can take some Mod Podge and apply each of my scrapbook pieces to where they belong on the snowman. And I also go over each one of them with a layer of Mod Podge to seal it in. And this is coming together so adorable. I love this scrapbook paper. It's so pretty. Then I just took a pencil and drew out a mouth and some eyes. And this is just a very simple face. I'll put a little dots at the top so we can put the whites in the eyes, and then I hand wrote out "Let It Snow" and kind of put little blocks on the ends of the letters. And then you just want to play around with your design, just until you get it the way you like it. And I'm taking a regular Sharpie and filling all of that in. And then I took a fine tip Sharpie and went over the carrot nose to add a little bit of lines to it to make it look more realistic. Then I'll take my regular size Sharpie and go over the lettering on the front. And I thought it would be really cute to add some stitching to the outside. It's going to really pop and give it more of a border, but it kind of looks like it is hand stitched. For the whites of the eyes that I didn't color in, I took the end of my paintbrush and dabbed it into my white paint. And then I added a little bit down at the bottom of the whites of the eyes, and then I added a little bit more to the mouth to kind of fill that in. For the hanger, I'm going to take some jute cord and fold that in half and take the centerpiece that I folded and feed that through the hole that's already on our hanger. And then that'll create a loop in the back, and I'll feed the two strands in the front through that loop and pull it down nice and tight. So this is, I believe, called like a slip knot. And then once I get that in place, I can double knot the ends of the jute cord and cut the excess off. And now you have a cute hanger to hang this up. This would also be really pretty to add it to the center of a wreath. But I think this is absolutely adorable. I think he's so cute, and it's like a whimsical, playful Christmas decor piece. And it also looks pretty good with our previous project. All right, moving on to project number 4. We're going to be using one of Walmart's wood plaques. I believe this measures 5 by 7 1/4 inches, but you could also use one of Dollar Tree's bamboo cutting boards. I'm going to sand down where the glue was for that tag, and then I'm going to take my Waverly Antique Wax, go over this with a brush. Before it dries, I'll take a dry paper towel, go over that, blend it in, and it's really going to bring out that beautiful wood grain. And it's kind of going to take all of that excess wax off. I did the entire piece, and I'm also using one of Dollar Tree's chalkboard signs, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with the antique wax on this one. I was very careful to get those inside edges where the chalkboard is. And I'm going to wipe all of that down and blend it in so that this one now match perfectly with our wood plaque. I also made sure to get the back side. And you could actually paint that back side with chalkboard craft paint if you want to and have a two-sided sign. I'm using one of these ornaments. I believe this came from Family Dollar for $1. And I'm going to remove the tag and trim the bow down because it was a little bit longer than I wanted. And I'm going to attach this to the front of the chalkboard frame on the outside edges because it's slightly larger than the actual chalkboard itself. I'm going to secure that down with some hot glue, let that set, and then we're going to set our chalkboard sign right on top of our wood plaque in the center, and we'll secure that down with some hot glue. Now I found these adorable snowmen ornaments at Dollar Tree. They are so cute. I'm going to remove the hangers, and then I felt like the scarves were going to clash with the stripes on the snow sign that we put on the chalkboard. So I decided to go ahead and cut those off and just let them be cute little plain snowmen. And I'm going to hot glue one down on each side and tilt it out towards the side a little bit. And this was a super easy project. I love how it turned out. It is so adorable. And you could also, instead of putting that ornament in the front where it says snow, you could put a family photo or a Christmas card or whatever you like. But I think it turned out really cute. For project number 5, we are going to start off with one of Dollar Tree's very large ornaments and remove the hanger at the top. Now I'm going to take some apple barrel white acrylic paint. I'm going to use a styrofoam plate or a paper plate or whatever you have, and I'm going to cut a piece of toilet paper roll down so that I'll be able to drain this. I'm going to put the paint inside of the globe, the ornament, and I'm going to twist that around until I get it nice and covered on the inside. So if you need to add more, you can just add more, but you don't want to add too much because you don't want to waste your paint when all of it drains out. So just take your time and twirl it around until the entire inside is covered. Set it on your toilet paper roll and let that drain out. We're going to use one of Dollar Tree's snow globes and remove the lid and all the insides. And for this one, I'll be sitting it on top of 2 craft sticks. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did for the ornament, allowing that paint to swirl around on the inside. And it's just going to give this a really beautiful like a glass effect on the outside. Now I set mine to the side and I let them dry completely overnight. And yes, I did put way too much in that one because I had to change the plate out because I had so much extra paint coming out. But they just look so elegant and beautiful. Now we're going to use the lid off of this Dollar Tree jar, and you want to place your designs because I'm going to use some snowflake stickers, which actually came from Hobby Lobby, but you can also find some snowflake stickers at Dollar Tree. But whatever design you put on the bottom of this lid, you want to make sure that it is facing where the lid itself that you twist onto the jar is facing up, because that's where we're going to attach our ornament. So I just alternated the sizes for my snowflakes all the way around, and see, this is where we're going to place our ornament itself down into the top part where the lid twists to the jar, and you want the open part of your ornament at the top. I'm going to secure that down with some E6000 as well as some hot glue and just set that in place. And I did apply just a little bit of pressure to make sure that that glue sets. Now if you have a little bit of glue oozed out, make sure you wipe that off before it dries. Now for the face of our snowman, we're going to take that snow globe itself, and I'm just putting it in between 2 tumbling tower pieces to kind of hold it in place so it doesn't roll around. And I'm using an oil-based Sharpie marker, which you can find at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to draw a really simple face. Now you guys can get really creative with the face of your snowman. You could give them different colored eyes, whatever you like. For the nose, I'm going to use that same acrylic pumpkin orange paint. Paint that out. Now that does take 2 coats. You'll have to let that dry in between coats. And then once that second coat dries, I'm going to take that fine-tipped Sharpie marker and draw a couple of lines. I'll do the same thing that I did in the previous snowman with the eyes, taking a dot of white paint to add there. For the hat, we'll be using this black and red buffalo plaid, beautiful Christmas ornament from Dollar Tree. And on the bottom part of that, I'm just using like some tweezers, but you could use a screwdriver or whatever. I want to poke a hole in the bottom so we can take this bamboo skewer and add it to the inside so we'll have some stability for our hat. Once I have that hole poked through there, I can add a little bit of hot glue, stick that bamboo skewer in there and cut it down where it's just a little bit hanging from the bottom, because I want to put the hat a little bit off to the side, and this is going to help us secure it to the snowman's head. I'm going to take the hot glue gun and hold it in place until it melts a hole right there where I want my bamboo skewer to go into. But before I attach that, I'm going to take some greenery pieces. These are some pieces from Hobby Lobby pick that I've had, and I thought it would be really cute to add these under the hat to look like hair. So I'm going to cut quite a few of those off, and I'm going to glue them to the bottom of the hat where they'll stick out from the outside of the rim. And I'll do that all the way around the bottom, so it'll be nice and finished looking once you put the hat on, no matter where you're looking at him from the front or the back. Then once all of those are in place, I can add some hot glue to the bottom of the hat and the barbecue skewer, and I'll be able to attach this to the top of our snowman's head. And he is really coming together, looking so adorable. Now I'm going to take some of these pop dots, and you guys have seen me use these before. I'm going to paint those with 2 coats of my black chalk paint and let them dry. And I'm going to attach our snowman's head using some E6000 and some hot glue to the base of the snowman, and just kind of make sure everything's straight and lined up. And then I'm going to go around the outside edge with the hot glue just to make sure it's nice and glued and secure. And you're not going to see any of that anyway because we will be covering it up. Now that our pop dots are dry, I'm going to hot glue 3 of those for the buttons in the front. And then I'm going to take some Hobby Lobby red and black buffalo plaid ribbon to create the scarf, and it's going to match perfectly with the hat. I'm just going to wrap that around, tie it, and then I'll take the 2 end pieces and kind of go in opposite directions and glue that top piece down just like we did in our previous snowman. Trim the ends of the scarf down a bit, and then I will cut tiny little slits in the ends and fray out somewhat to make it look like a realistic scarf. Now I love how this piece turned out. It looks like a piece of glassware even though it's plastic. I think it is super beautiful, and I hope you guys like it too. So if you guys have a favorite out of today's video, please let me know in the comments down below. I always like to know which one is your favorite. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my videos, and if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.
Hey guys, so you made it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed all of the projects today. And thank you so much for watching to the end to hear about my channel update. Now, before I share that with you all, I just want to take this opportunity to truly thank each and every one of you for all of your love and support for my channel, because without you, I would not even have a channel. And I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you and how much I am humbled by each and every one of you that you take time out of your day to watch my videos. So my current primary full-time job, the owner is getting ready to retire, and after I discussed this with my husband, we have decided that I am going to take my YouTube channel and make this my full-time career. Now, none of this would be possible without you guys, so again, I just cannot thank you enough. I am truly excited about this transition, and it is going to be taking place at the first of the year. So I'll be creating 2 videos a week. I will continue to create my Dollar Tree DIYs on Saturday at 7 p.m., but I'm not quite sure exactly what day of the week that I will create my second video, and I have not narrowed down the content for those videos as of yet. So I do need your help. I need your input. So leave me some suggestions in the comments down below. Do you want to see thrift flips, Cricut DIYs, furniture flips, or using some power tools? If you've been with my channel for a while, you know I love to create things and build things out of wood, and I love to use power tools. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. Let me know what other type of videos you like to watch. Not only do I want to create things that I enjoy making, but I also want to create things that you guys enjoy watching. So be on the lookout on my community tab. In the next month or so, I will be posting some polls and getting some ideas for this extra video every week. I just cannot express my gratitude enough, and I am so looking forward to the upcoming 2022 year and really focusing on my channel. With all that being said, please take care, and I will see you guys next week.